It's Faith Pump time. And welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for coming along. Did you know that we have over 800 members of this Faith Pump group? Beth Duell, our co-host, is traveling today. We hope she'll get to check in at some point along the way. And hi, Beth. Also, Kaylee Ray is going to be around checking in too. Today is July the 28th, 2017, and today's Faith Pump is really kind of a continuation from last week. We're in chapter 4 of the novel Turtles in the Road, and if you read the chapter, and again, you do not have to read the book to come along for the study, but if you read the chapter, The Green Sofa That Smells Like Springtime in Alpo, did that crack you up? Because, oh my. But last week we talked about prayer, and when you're so busy, even your prayer is tired. This week we're still in the busy, and it's become a joy drain on our character. In this chapter, Jay prays this prayer. It's on page 40. He prays, "Sorry, I'm not the boss. I get that. You are the boss." He's talking to God. You are the boss. And not to tack more on, but please help me have a better attitude. Help me not to get lost in here, in the shuffle, in all the stuff. More and more, it's like I'm drowning in it. I love you. You are so good. But I feel like I've got this serious joy depletion going on right now, and I don't like it. Fill me up again, Father. I'm begging you. Kind of running on empty at the moment, honestly. So much to chat about right here, but I really do want to respect your time on Fridays, and I want to give you an opportunity to be able to chime in too. So let's just zero in on a few things here, all right? And number one, pray. Whenever you're feeling a joy depletion, pray. And pray like Jay approached it here. What's the last thing he said? Honestly. Does it make sense to try to hide what we're feeling from the Lord anyway? No, He knows everything. He knows everything about us. Pray honestly. And Jay did recognize God's sovereignty, and he didn't demand to have his prayers answered just the way he wanted them answered. But he also in it recognizes the goodness of God, and he speaks straight to the Lord about the goodness of God. You know what? Praising God can wake up our joy. Have you ever seen that happen in your life? I have. Listen to Psalm 71:23. "My lips will shout for joy when I sing praises to you, my soul also, which you have redeemed." Joy and praise, they go together, and not just lip joy. What does it say? My soul also. So you want the joy, 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 joy down in your heart. I'm talking all the way down in your soul. Praise. It changes our focus from the temporary to the eternal. And once we get focused on the eternal, we remember what victory we have. And there is definitely some joy restoration that happens right there. Second, the next one is kind of related. When we're feeling like our joy is being depleted, it's really good to recognize I'm not the boss. Romans 15:13 says, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him." I think a lot of the time, the more we trust, the more we settle into this soul kind of joy and peace. At that place where we can say, "Not my will, Lord, but yours." Trust. And third, friends, when you're experiencing a joy lull, your knee-jerk reaction is going to be to isolate. Let me encourage you not to do that. One of the things that helped Jay out of his funk was his bouncy buddy, Kent. Oh, Kent. He cracks me up. But do you have a bouncy friend? Is there somebody in your life who can help you when you're struggling in the joy department? Connecting with this friend also made Jay realize what a blessing friendship is. I think he saw the blessing of his friendship, which brings us to the next one, number 4. Count your blessings. Name them one by one. Because man, if that's not joy fuel, I don't know what is. And again, we could talk about a whole lot more here, but let me just wrap up by reminding us all that sometimes those joy depletions are just a season, just like the busyness we talked about last week. Sometimes it's just a season, and we're going to be on the other side of that season before we know it. And it helps us to remember it's just a season. And a little side note too, we need to remember that joy is not necessarily that giddy, giggly, happy, bubbly, happy kind of thing. Joy goes much deeper than that. It doesn't depend on circumstances. Joy is really about a soul at rest, and it doesn't matter what's happening around it. Jay prays also, fill me up. There is joy at the end of that prayer. So as you're counting your blessings, let me just encourage you to spend the most time on the biggest blessing, and that is, if you are a follower of Christ, your salvation. Oh my goodness, talk about a perspective giver and a joy restorer. I'm going to finish up here. Try to ignore my little dog. She acts like she's being tortured, but she really just wants to go and play with Kaylee. So hold that thought. Her joy will be restored momentarily. But I'm gonna finish up here with Isaiah 61:10. But you feel free to give a joy shout out. Not Lulu, but you feel free to give a joy shout out in the comments, maybe to a friend who brings you joy, or maybe there's a verse or there's a praise song, a joyful praise song. Share the link to that. Let's just have a little joy party up in here. Here's Isaiah 61:10. I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall exult in my God, for he has clothed me with the garments of salvation. He has covered me with the robe of righteousness. As a bridegroom decks himself like a priest with a beautiful headdress, as a bride adorns herself with her jewels. Recognizing that you are wearing the garments of salvation and the robe of righteousness because of our borrowed righteousness from Jesus Christ. When you understand that, you realize you are wearing joy duds. See, Lulu doesn't understand this because she's naked. I don't know how to even break that to her, but you and I, if we've become followers of Christ and put on that robe of righteousness, we are wearing joy duds. I hope you get to wear yours all day long. Next week, Kaylee Ray's going to be up in here. Looking forward to that. See you then.